I didn't think the Nets were going to get as much as they got for a guy like Kyrie Irving, especially forcing his way out a week before the trade deadline. Usually, when it comes out throughout social media and it comes out from all different writers stating that Kyrie Irving went to the Nets and said he wants to be traded, it takes away his trading stock. It really pretty much tells all the teams in the NBA, why do I have to trade a first-round draft pick? Why do I have to trade any good players for him? Because he wants out. He doesn't want to be there. The interesting thing about this is Dallas did exactly what the Brooklyn Nets wanted them to do. And that's, even though they traded for Spencer Dinwiddie, an ex-player that played for the Nets for quite a few years. He was a good player for the Nets. He really developed after being a journeyman in his early career. He became a pretty good player with the Nets, and then obviously got traded. And then he became a journeyman again, and then went to the Mavericks, signed a contract last year, and now he's back with the Nets. He could be traded at the trade deadline. Some people think that he could. Or the Nets decide to keep him and then maybe move him in the offseason. Who knows? Dorian Finney-Smith is a very interesting trade piece. He's a good player, a decent player. He's not a star. He's a guy that will give you probably around 11 or 12 points off the bench. Maybe you start him. On this team, he might be starting after Kevin. If Kevin Durant gets traded, he could very much be a starter. But he's a good player off the bench on any other NBA team. He can rebound. He's not much of an assist guy, but he's decent. I think he averages almost a steal a game. He's not a bad player.
He's a good three-point shooter, too. I think he's a 36% three-point shooter.
Yeah, that's an okay three-point shooter. But he's definitely above average. A first-round draft pick and 2 second-round picks. So you look at this trade. This was a pretty good trade for the Brooklyn Nets. A lot of people sitting here says that this is a good trade for Dallas. I'm going to tell you why it's not a good trade for the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic demands the ball. He's usually the guy that brings the ball up on the top of the key. Now Kyrie Irving is a guy that demands the ball. 2 guys that like to ball handle. 2 guys that like to shoot. 2 guys that average about between 25 and 23 shots a game. There's not enough shots to get around for a whole team. Then again, 2 players. Luka Doncic has only played with 1 player who scored 20 points per game in any season he's been in the NBA. And the 1 player was Kristaps Porzingis. What a coinky-dink. Another New York player from the opposite side of the city. And that's Manhattan and the New York Knicks. In the playoffs, Luka Doncic averages 32.5 points per game, 6.4 assists per game, 9.1 rebounds per game, and 1.8 steals per game, and a 0.6 block per game percentage. Shooting 47.5% overall and a 36.6% three-point percentage. Kyrie Irving in the playoffs averages 23.3 points per game, 4.8 assists a game, 3.7 rebounds per game, shooting 45%. When you look at these numbers, you would think that these 2 players averaging about 50 to 60 points for your team is going to give you a very high likely percentage of you winning in the playoffs. The problem is 2 players that shoot very high, very good percentages, both demand the ball, both want to be the leader, both want to be the number 1 guy. If you look at Kyrie Irving when Kevin Durant was in the lineup, even though Kevin Durant was averaging more points than Kyrie Irving was shooting in I would say about 80% of the games more than Kevin Durant was. And that's a problem. This is not going to be Kyrie Irving's team. This is Luka Doncic's team. That's what it is. That's why KP's no longer there. He's over there flying with the Wizards because KP thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to run myself out of New York. I'm going to go play with my buddy over there in Dallas. And how long did that take? Where he just, obviously Dallas decided it wasn't working and they had to trade him. You don't need 2 alpha males on a team. It doesn't work. He did not.